Guys, the USDA did something kind of sneaky to SNAP benefits when we weren't looking. And today I want to bring that to your attention because I think it's really important. So here's what's going on. So, for more than 30 years, the USDA has published an annual survey called the Household Food Security Report. This report measures how many households were struggling to afford enough food and it tracked changes in hunger over time. Policymakers, researchers, and nonprofits have all relied on that report to design programs like SNAP, school meals, other nutrition assistance. It's been a really important benchmark for a lot of reasons. But now they're not going to do that anymore. And I think it's really important to talk about why and what the implications of that could be, because I think this is something that we really need to draw more attention to. So, we're going to talk about what this means, what it means for you and your benefits, and more in just one moment. But first, I want to remind you that our sponsor, Free Cash, has a great platform that will pay you to play games, test new apps, and more. You can check that out at the link that you see on screen. Just a few days ago, the USDA announced that the 2024 report, which is due on October 22nd, will be the last one they issue. The agency has said that it will permanently terminate the Household Food Security Report program. And the USDA said that this is because the surveys are redundant, costly, and too politicized to be useful. A press release also claimed that the survey does little more than fearmonger, which is an interesting accusation, I think. They argue that food insecurity trends have remained virtually unchanged, even as federal food stamp spending has increased. They specifically mention that 87% surge between 2019 and 2023 when we had those emergency allotments, which, of course, was during the time of the pandemic, and there were other factors at play there. Now, officials say other federal data sets provide more timely and accurate information than the survey. They also said that the survey questions are too subjective and open to interpretation, which honestly, that's a fair accusation. But the USDA has said that it wants to refocus their resources on core statutory requirements instead of extraneous studies. So that's the reason why they are doing away with this Keystone report. But of course, a lot of critics are quick to point out that the survey end is coming only just a few months after the Trump administration has absolutely slashed food stamps benefits for many households. They have defended the cuts by pointing to improvements in the job market, rising wages, lower official poverty rates, and more. But of course, critics are saying, well, if you take away this survey, at the same time you're making those cuts, it's going to be a lot harder to track the impact of those cuts, right? Which is, of course, a main concern because we're very concerned about people being able to get the food that they need. Now, this change has got a lot of backlash. Representative Mike Levin called the decision inexcusable and dangerous because many families are still struggling. Economist Justin Wolfers said that ending the survey looks like an attempt to hide evidence that hunger is increasing due to those benefit reductions. And honestly, I really liked his tweet here. He says, Step 1, cut funding for food stamps. Step 2, stop measuring hunger. Step 3, there's no evidence that cuts to food stamps led to a rise in hunger because they're getting rid of the evidence. And I feel like that really sums up the issue here very quickly. Getting rid of this report may not necessarily be a bad thing. There is a chance it really is redundant or that the questions really do need to be improved. But even if they were going to get rid of it, I think giving it a couple of more years and then setting an end date for it would have been at least a little bit more transparent. It's possible that this report really should have been done away with. You know, it may be redundant. It may be that those questions needed to be improved. But I think the timing of this change really is fueling a lot of this criticism because even if they were going to eliminate it, they should probably give it a couple more years so that there is that transparency and there is an easier way of tracking those changes over time. But they're doing it how they're doing it. So, yeah. That being said, there are other organizations that try to track similar metrics, not exactly the same way that USDA has, and they certainly don't have the longevity that USDA has in their reporting. But a national survey by Feeding America has shown that many households are continuing to face serious hardship. In this particular survey, 52% of people surveyed said they ran out of food in the last year, and 28% said this happened in just the last month. That is huge. 80%, that's the vast majority, 80% reported buying cheaper, less nutritious food because of high grocery prices, while 51% delayed paying rent, utilities, or medical bills in order to afford food. So the situation is indeed very dire, and this is probably a bad time to be getting rid of that other report. And in the Feeding America report, nearly 80% said they were not as healthy as they want to be, and many reported high stress and anxiety tied to food access. So clearly, there is a problem here. Now, as we go forward, ending the USDA report does remove the only long running consistent national measure of household food insecurity. This means researchers are going to lose the ability to compare hunger trends year over year. Policymakers will have fewer tools to identify early warning signs of worsening hunger, and vulnerable communities such as seniors, children, and rural families may become essentially invisible in the official data. And that is a massive problem. Now, states and universities could expand their own surveys to fill in gaps. Advocates could push USDA to create maybe a modified version of the survey instead of fully eliminating it. Hopefully, we'll see some of these other steps get taken. In the meantime, please make your voice heard. Call or write your elected officials. Tell them how food costs and program changes are affecting you because your voice does matter. Know where to get help. Find nearby food pantries, meal programs, community fridges. Feeding America's website has a Find Your Local Food Bank tool. We've done tons of videos on how to get free food. Make sure you know how to get the help you need. Also, make sure that you join local support groups or online communities where your neighbors are sharing resources and tips. Those have been instrumental in helping a lot of people get access to the food that they need. And of course, don't forget to check out our sponsor, Free Cash. They've got really low payouts. They make it really easy to withdraw the funds that you've accrued. So it is a good way to get a little bit of extra cash when you're in a pinch. And I will be back soon with more ways that you can save money and get free stuff. I'll see you there.